What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Blood on the Razor Wire TV, where we bring it to you real and we bring it to you raw. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and don't forget, make sure you share it and leave a comment. Some of you that have been tuning in, you've been hearing the audio book, got that professionally done. If you want a copy, you can hit us up at freedomfighterspc@gmail.com. If you want the hardcover, softcover book, Blood on the Razor Wire, autographed copy, hit us up at the same email. We're charging $25 a piece. If you want, you can jump on Amazon, read the first 3 chapters for free. I promise you won't be disappointed. But anyway, we're going to get into a subject today that people have been asking me to do, right? People have been like, hey, man, talk about R. Kelly or talk about that Dugar guy before he gets sentenced and tell us what you think's going to happen. So we'll talk about a couple of them cats today. Maybe we'll talk about another guy that he was connected to the mob. He was a mayor in Waterbury, Connecticut. Just a vicious, vicious dude. He changed his name in federal prison to Gino. His real name's Philip Jared Donald. We might talk about him. We'll talk about Jared Fogle. Talk about Larry Nasser. We'll talk about this cat in Milan, Michigan that's from, unfortunately, around where I'm from Binghamton, New York. His name was Christian Marie. Ended up with a 40-year sentence, and they did him dirty. They did him dirty at a medium security prison where people think this shit don't happen. But people want to know what happens to these guys, right, when they enter federal prison. And let this be a teachable moment, man. If you're one of them cats sitting in your mother's basement right now, you know, you're a computer whiz and you're sitting down there butt naked or you're sitting down there in your Superman underwear, this might be the video for you. Let it be a teachable moment. Let it be the moment that you say, man, I'm done. I'm not doing this stuff. And let me explain this, right? I firmly, firmly believe that all kids are innocent victims. So if you're doing some bullshit, trust me, they got some people in federal prison that will definitely put that work in on you. That's a promise. So today might be the day that you say, you know what? I'm changing my life because I don't want that to happen to me. Because it could. I promise you that it could. And we'll talk a little bit about things that happen to these people, man. From all the way up to the maximum security prison, to a medium, to a low. And guess what? They don't send them cats to camps. So we won't be talking about any type of camp stuff, all right? When you go into prison for this type of crime, trust me, everybody thinks federal prison's, you know, a nice place. They're playing tennis. They're doing this. They're doing that. Having a good time. If you've been tuned in, you know federal prison is definitely a dangerous place. So you might be thinking in your mind, you know, after you watch the show and you read some stuff, why would any dude with a charge like that try a maximum security prison? Why would they ever think about going to a federal prison like Big Sandy or going to walk out on the yard in Pollock? And let me tell you, some of these cats actually try. They actually go out on the compound and they're like, you know what? I'm going to give it a shot. And some of these dudes end up brutalized. You don't often see this in places like Big Sandy, right? You don't often see it. But once in a while, a dude would come out there on the compound and say, you know what? I'm going to take my chances, man. Sometimes you even get ex-cops come out there and want to take their chances. And I'm going to tell you a little story about a cat in Big Sandy. Cat gets to Big Sandy. Dude's like, hey, man, what are you in for? How much time you got? I think the dude had 20 years. I was in either A4 or A2 at the time. And anybody that was over there, I might bring Vic Lorenzano on for a phone interview. He'll probably talk about this because it happened in our unit. We had a cat, comes in, and the first thing he says is, I'm in for bank fraud. Well, how much time you got? I got 20 years. The cat had 20 years. But he wasn't there for bank fraud. Within a day or two, the officer's like, hey, man, that dude over there, that white dude, no good. So when he says he's no good, people start pressing him like, hey, man, what are you really in here for? People are trying to find out, whatever. And usually a lot of times they don't even try to find out. They just, you know, the cop says, hey, man, dude's no good. Or, you know, dude was out there doing bad things to kids, child porn, all that bullshit. They're like, no question, we're getting them. And they get you, man. They will definitely get you. So this cat, they're like, hey, man, what are you in for? Oh, man, bank robbery, man. Dude, you're definitely not in here for bank robbery. You're definitely lying. But then his next thing he starts saying, and this is a special thing that they always say, right? Dudes will always say stuff like, well, my lawyer told me not to talk about it, so I can't talk about it. As soon as they say that, you know what time it is. So this particular cat, and I believe it was the ABTs that went and got this kid, Dinky. You guys heard a lot about Dinky. And I shouldn't say kid because the dude wasn't a kid. He's probably 35, 40 years old, had a little size on him. And I've seen this happen a couple times. What happened to this cat? Dude's a sex offender. Definitely not a good dude. Abusing people that he shouldn't be abusing, innocent victims. And what they do is they line his ass up. And he knows. They're coming to get him. They line him up. One dude hits him in the face. Boom! They start fucking wrestling, tussling a little bit. And dude starts hitting him. And I get a little bit bent out of shape about this stuff when we talk about this stuff. Dude's hitting him with a knife. Dude's running. Cops hit the deuces. The cop sees the guy running. They're chasing him. He gets away. They catch him again. They're stabbing this cat. And eventually the cop's able to whisk this dude away and get him into what we used to have TV rooms, right? They took all the TVs out of these rooms because people were getting brutalized in these TV rooms. Now all the TVs are out in the open main floor, whatever you want to call it. It's not a dorm because there's cells everywhere. So this cat, the cop ends up getting him in there. Dudes are punching the window, kicking the door. The cop's like, lock down. And these dudes are like, just totally like gone, man. Like, there's evil in them too. They're like, I don't care what the cop's saying. Like, they want to destroy this dude. And the cop was lucky enough to get this cat into the TV room and lock him in there. Then all the other cops come. Eventually, the dudes lock in. This kid's leaking. And you just see him there on the floor, man. And I talk about this in the book. And Mr. Young's like, hey, man, that dude right there, he's a piece of shit. He did this, he did that. And they just destroyed this dude, man. And how he lived, I don't know how he lived, but he ended up living, all right? The dude ends up living, makes it out of Big Sandy. They probably put him in the hole. This is what they do to you, too. I want you to know this. So if you're doing bad things, remember this. They'll take you and they'll put you in the special housing unit, right? And there's nothing special about it. You've probably heard me say that before. They put you down there. They lock you in a cell. Sometimes they'll lock you in. They'll call it cell alone, wreck alone. Because now they got to protect you. You've been stabbed. You've been beat up. They got to protect you. If they don't protect you, there'll be people from, coming from D.C., want to know what happened. And you can end up jammed up. And remember this. We did the interview with the kid that was at Big Sandy that was assaulted by the cops. The cops get indicted. Matter of fact, he's locked up right now because someone's seen the video. They locked him up for doing an interview, which I think you're allowed to do that. Maybe not. I'm not sure what the policy is. But anyway, they locked him up. But remember that he said that the cops sent him out there on the compound. They knew he couldn't go out there, but they sent him out there anyway. And you better believe that staff members, some of them will do their job, but you better believe that a lot of them staff members, even the ones that are doing their job, they don't like people like you. If you're the guy watching this and you're doing bad stuff, they do not like people like you. So they will definitely send you out there. The same way they were going to send that kid out there to Big Sandy. Let's go, son. They'll walk you across the compound and they'll let you go. Sometimes the cops will be like, you're good? You want to go to the compound? Okay, sign right here. You're all good. They send you out there and they know you're about to be victimized. And the people that are sending you out there might be the same cops that tell people that, hey, he's no good. So in a penitentiary, if you have those types of charges, you definitely don't want to be there because people will brutalize you. They will victimize you. And now you might be thinking, you know what? Well, maybe I'll go to an FCI. And we're going to talk about this kid, what they just destroyed this kid. This Christian Marie, unfortunately, he's from, New York, Binghamton. He's this computer guy. He ends up making it to, I want to say an FCI or a low, right? Milan. He's in Milan, Michigan, no matter what it is. He's in Milan, Michigan. Lower security, not in a maximum security prison. Him and, 5 or 6 of his comrades that were involved in the bullshit that he was involved in. Intelligent dude, 40 years old. He got a computer degree, making good money. His buddy's an IT specialist. They're doing they're doing pretty good. Doing good in life. But on their free time, they're not doing good things. They're doing bad things. And eventually, dude gets sentenced to 40 years. Gets sentenced to 40 years in prison. Goes to Milan, Michigan. A couple dudes group up and they're like, yo, man, we're about to get these dudes, man. All the stories that you heard about prison, they're about to come true for this cat, right? And these dudes have to know. I mean, it's always like in movies, it's on the news. If you do bad things like this and you go to prison, you're going to become a victim. They're going to victimize your ass, man. So in your mind, you got to be thinking about this. And maybe you don't realize how bad they're going to victimize you. Or maybe your sickness. And I was writing a book at one time called Sickness with Sickness. Inside the minds of convicted Cho-Mos, right? I never finished the book. But these people are sick, man. They got some serious issues upstairs in their head, man. To do the things that you're doing. Because like I said, these are innocent victims, man. These people have done nothing to you. And you got to know, you heard the prison stories. You know when you're doing this shit, that if you ever get caught, there's always this thing in the back of your mind. Like the little devil over here and the angel over here. Something's telling you, man, if you get caught doing this shit, man, it's going to be really bad for you, right? And some people think, I'll be all right. I'll be okay. I'm never going to get caught. Whatever you think. I bet you this cat thought the same thing, right? And he ends up getting killed. These 3 dudes get together. They're in Michigan. They're like, we're about to victimize these cats, man. We're about to destroy them. And they do this dude dirty, man. They shank him, stab him up, throw him down the stairs. They just destroy him. He was 1 month in on his 40-year sentence. They're not playing games no more either, man. When these people catch you, back in the day, man, used to get the little probation, a year in jail, 6 months, 5 years probation. They ain't doing that shit no more. Not in the feds. They're lighting your ass up. They are definitely lighting your ass up. So if you end up in federal prison, which you probably will, if you're on that computer, you're definitely in danger. You could be this guy. You could be Christian Marie. And you know, one of the kids, man, at his sentencing, he predicted this, man. He said, I'm okay with the 40 years. That's basically life. He's 20 years old now, one of the victims. He said, and he's going to get the hell beat out of him. He's going to get the hell beat out of him. They did a whole lot more than that. Christian Marie, the mastermind of an international child exploitation ring, was killed and a second defendant injured in what is to be believed a targeted stabbing attack by fellow inmates at the Milan Federal Prison. You know, his lawyer said some stuff. Felt bad. You felt bad. Are you serious, bro? You got kids, man? Can't be serious right now. So anyway, let's read a little bit about Marie. Binghamton, New York, the well-educated co-founder of a computer graphics company, died Wednesday night in an attack that left 3 others injured. Marie sobbed during his sentencing in federal court in Detroit as some of his victims recounted the emotional devastation his crimes caused. I've shattered so many lives, he told the district court judge, Stephen Murphy. I never thought I could sink this low. I apologize to all my victims. I took advantage of our youth and trust and put my own selfishness above your dignity. Oh, now you want to start talking educated, right? Now you're sorry. Now you're sorry because the judge's like, yo, bro, about to bang you, man. Did you read that PSI? I'm about to give you, 40 years, 50 years, maybe life. So now you're sorry. But was he really sorry? What do you think he was thinking, man, when them dudes were on him? Was he like, oh my God, all the things I ever heard, here it is. And let me tell you something. Some prisons, they let you go up top, right? Some FCIs, they'll say, you know what, man, you got to leave, man. We ain't going to beat you up, but you ain't living here. You got to go. And then you go, you live in the hole, and they transfer you to another prison. And eventually you're going to make it to the prison where they got your number, where they're going to devastate you, man. They're going to smash you. And I'm going to give you a personal story. We're in Raybrook, okay? FCI Raybrook. Some people call it a mini penitentiary. I get to FCI Raybrook. It's all right place. But you always have dudes, man, that are around where you think, man, dude seems like he's an all right dude. And there was this black kid from Brooklyn. He's in the gym. He's watching basketball. He just came from a low, came with a different story, how he got rolled up. He got sent to Raybrook, man. He got in a little fight. He's in the gym. He's chilling, man. He's got the nice watch on. He's got the glasses. I think he had Gucci glasses. Anybody that was in Raybrook at this time, you're going to remember this story. Definitely leave a comment. You're going to remember what happened. There was a big homie there named Lex, right? And me and Lex, we were all right. I did a lot of Lex's legal work. We got pretty close. Our relationship soured after I got out of prison because there were certain things that he wanted me to do that I'm not doing because I'm free. Definitely not getting involved in certain shit. But anyway, that's another story. So anyway, I'm in the gym, man. Basketball game's on. There's this cop that's working. He's into CrossFit. Back then I was doing a bunch of burpees, doing a lot of the CrossFit. He's like, hey, man, I want to tell you something, man. I'm like, what's up? He was kind of like hesitant, nervous, but he wanted to tell me something. I'm like, what's up, man? And I try, man, not to talk to the cops, like, one-on-one, none of that type of shit. He's like, look, man, that dude right there, the black kid with the glasses, he said, man, he's vicious, man. He's horrible, man. He said, I know you're close with the big guy. And he's talking about Lex, right? Lex is about 6'3", 6'4", always working out, always playing basketball. He's one of them dudes that you've probably seen in movies too. He's a dude that used his power, his size, his influence to have other people in prison do what he wanted them to do. A dog-eat-dog world. That's just how it works, right? So he's like, yo, man, I want you to holler at the big dude, man, and tell him this. I'm like, well, dude, I can't. And he tells me what the dude did. I'm like, man, if I tell him that, man, he ain't going to take my word for it, man. He's going to want to see that shit, man. So the cop's like, come here, man. He shows me the dude's PSI on the computer. And the cops will expose your ass, man. They will make sure everybody knows what you did. He shows me it, and I'm like, all right, man, I'm going to tell him, but he's going to want to see it. So I go tell Lex, like, yo, man, dude said, boom, boom, boom. The cop told me to tell you this, man. He wanted to holler at you. Kind of didn't really want to talk to Lex, but I knew that it was going to come to that. So Lex like, man, I need to see that, man. And he had this serious face, like, I need to see that. I'm like, all right. So we go to the office, and I'm like, yo, man, he wants to see it, man. So he goes in the office, and the cop's like showing him. Man, and Lex actually like nudges the cop and takes the mouse. And he starts scrolling down. And he looks at the cop, real serious face. He says, we're going to handle it. Lex calls some of the homies over. He's like, yo, look, this is what it is. There's this kid from Yonkers, man, real good kid, man. He worked in the law library. He was always cleaning up in there, buffing the floors. But he wasn't no punk, man. He calls him over, calls a couple of the homies over there from New York. He's like, yo, old boy right there, he's got to go. I've seen it with my own eyes. This is what I want done. And Lex was the shot caller for the New York car. Make no mistake about it. Lex tells him what needs to be done. He's like, I'm about to come up there on the move. It's snowing out. Lex is like, I'm coming up there. They're like, nah, homie, you don't have to come up there. Don't get involved. We got it. We're going to handle that. They take the dude in the cell, right? Genesee B. Take the dude in the cell. They start interrogating him, questioning him. And they're slapping this kid. He's got his glasses on, Gucci glasses. Bang, they're slapping him, punching him, kicking him. And then they start to do some other vicious shit to him. And this is the thing in federal prison, right? In a medium security prison like this, we got doors. The cops don't unlock the door for you and then lock it when you go in and unlock it. They unlock it during the day, and then they lock it again for count time, and they lock it again at night. But once you go into that cell, man, you're in the death chamber. Sometimes they'll have dudes outside holding the door down. Boom, you're in the cell. There's no way out. There's no way out for this kid, man. They start slapping the shit out of him. They're kicking him. They're punching him. And another dude just pulls his thing out, man, starts pissing on him. He's just got to take it, man. He's just got to take it. There's nothing he can do. He's just sitting there while dudes are just pissing on him. But he was acting like he was that dude, man. And he had like a 30-year sentence. Acting like he was out there getting money. He knew the drug game. He could talk the talk. But he did some vicious shit on the computer. And I think with his girlfriend's child, man. And they just abused this dude, man, for 20, 30 minutes, man. They end up opening the door, let him go. He runs down to the cop. He goes to the hole. He ends up getting a transfer. But they will victimize your ass in there. And now we're going to take you to a low, right? I end up going to a low. I go to Lexington. Federal Medical Center, Lexington. They transfer me over there. I get there. And I may have mentioned this before, but this is my first day, right? They got this kid there that they call Creepy Chris. Creepy Chris is the first dude that walks up to me. His eyes are all cross-eyed. And you know, not all, but a lot of these dudes fit this profile. So anybody that's been to federal prison, you've been around these cats, you know what time it is. When you look at their profiles, not all, but a lot of them, they just got this goofy demeanor about them, man. You can usually pick them out. Usually can pick them out. This kid walks up to me. He's got a little size on him. He's cross-eyed. Hair's all dirty. Clothes are all dirty. And he's like, hey, man, what's up? Where are you coming from? Starts talking to me. And then he sees this other big white dude walking towards us with tattoos. And the white dude walks up to me. Before he gets up to me, Chris goes, he sees the dude. He says, I'm going to let you know right now, man, I'm fucked up, man. I'm a Cho-Mos. And I'm like, what the fuck? I had heard these stories about the low, but I've never been in a low before. So now I'm at the low, and this dude just tells me this. And all the stuff that been ingrained in my mind, I'm now in a prison with these people, right? But I'm working on getting out of prison, man. I'm trying to get out. I don't want to stay in prison. And this dude just saying that to me, just like, it shocked me. White dude gets up to us right about the time when he's telling me this, and he goes, look, man, I'm going to tell you right now. This dude's a creep, man. They call him Creepy Chris. If you're not fucked up, I wouldn't be talking to dudes like this. And the dude spins off. Well, I find my bed book. I find out where I'm at. That dude ends up being my cellie. That white dude that walked up with all the tattoos. And I'm going to tell you about Lexington, right? And this is how a lot of the low security prisons are. They're pretty messed up, man. You got all kinds of undesirables, I guess you could say, at these prisons. Are these dudes living in these prisons? Some of them are. A lot of them are living there. But they're not living a comfortable life. They're just not. And I'm going to give you a couple instances of what happens to people like this. When you get to Lexington, they got different chow halls, right? You walk down, you got the one chow hall down here where all the good white dudes are at, allegedly. Then you got this other little chow hall where all the, dudes like Creepy Chris eat at. And sometimes you get these dudes that just venture into our chow hall. And they're like, I'm sitting here and I don't give a shit. You guys are not going to push me around, right? They do this shit because they're at a low and they know a lot of people here are trying to go home. A lot of people aren't trying to abuse you. A lot of people ain't trying to catch new charges. But there are some dudes that will. You've seen it at Milan, Michigan. So these dudes, we got one dude that comes over there and he's like, I'm sitting here. I don't give a shit. No one's going to do anything to me. And dude's like, yo, bro, don't sit in here no more, man. We don't want you in here. Get out. And the dude, he's not listening. So there's this white dude, kind of got a little size on him. I think he was from the South. He gets an apple. This is some crazy shit. He's got an apple. And I'm telling you, man, I've never seen nothing like this before. He throws the apple at this kid like this kid might have been a pitcher in Little League when he was a kid. And he throws the apple at the kid and hits him. And you hear it. Boom! Hits him right in the jaw. And the dude he's like, yeah! I'm like, holy shit. The dude just starts crying like a little kid, man. Like a little kid. And that's one thing about these people, right? I feel like they grow physically but don't grow mentally. And I've spoke about that before about people in prison. But a lot of these people that do these things have a childlike mentality. They have never grown up. And you'll hear people comment and say, well, these people were abused. I understand that. But I don't believe that's an excuse for them to continue in that pattern. I just don't believe that. You can say what you want. I just don't believe it. I don't believe we say, oh, well, he's just, he's damaged. Well, he's damaged, but he can't be in society, obviously, because he's doing the Michael Jackson on people, man. He can't be out here, man. He just can't be. And you can look at people like Jared Fogle and Larry Nassar and some of the nasty shit that they've done. Jared Fogle, I think he was in Englewood, California. They beat the shit out of him over there. So they definitely got your number in different places, right? Larry Nassar, he goes to USP Tucson. And let me tell you, I'm going to get back to Lexington in a minute, but I want to talk a little bit about Larry Nassar, the gymnastics coach, right? He goes to Tucson. This is a prison where, they send people that can't go anywhere else. But they also send dudes there like that are former gang members, dudes that, ran up drug debts and can't go nowhere else. And then they get over there and they're still selling drugs over there. Some people sell drugs over there. And they get a drug debt and they're like, you know what, man, I can't pay it. I'm about to get out of here, man. I'm going to get out of Tucson and I'm going to just go to USP Coleman. And in order to get there, I'm just going to jump on this dude. And they'll jump on your ass over there, beat you up, stab you. That's what the one dude did to Whitey Bulger over there. He owned a drug debt. So I'm going to stab him. He stabbed him with a pencil, man. Not that serious. He stabbed the cat with a pencil. Not talking about what happened at Hazleton. I'm talking about at Tucson. So dudes will take you and you'll be their get out of Tucson free card. Or I'm going to leave Coleman and I'm going to go to Tucson. You're going to be my get out of jail free card over here. And now they're doing a program, I believe, at Atwater for guys that can't go nowhere. You go to Atwater. You're a maximum security prisoner. You're not safe. So we're going to send you to Atwater. You're going to do this program and we're going to move you down to an FCI where you'll be a little bit more safer. Unless, of course, you go to Milan and they punish your ass over there. So let's talk a little bit more about Lexington, and then we'll talk about, Phillip, too. I want to talk about Phillip. I should do a whole story on Phillip. What do you guys think? Let me know. So in Lexington, what else happens to these people that live there? So let me tell you, this is probably the most craziest shit I've ever seen in prison. I never even thought that this stuff could happen, right? A lot of these cats that are in there for messed up charges, some of them act tough, man. Some of them will act tough. These dudes will go into your room, into your cell, wherever you're at, and while you're sleeping, they will take your locker. They'll put your locker right on a dolly while you're sleeping, and they will roll your locker away on commissary day. Everything that you bought is gone. A lot of these kids, not kids, a lot of these dudes are working in Unicor. When these cats go to Unicor, and there's a story about this dude, right? What he would do. These guys would go to Unicor. He'd go in their cells and steal all their shit. He'd steal their fans, steal their radios, whatever you had that was worth anything. He would take your family pictures. Some of these cats got family pictures up on boards. He'd rip your pictures down, rip them up in pieces, and throw them all over the place. Big old black kid from Alabama. I think he was from Alabama. He'd go in there and steal your shit while you're at work. You come back, and listen, sometimes it's 100 degrees in that place. You come back, and there's no fan. And remember the kid I was just telling you about with the apple? He was in my unit, man. He goes to work. He comes back one day, goes into his cell. His fan's gone. They stole his fan. So they steal his fan. He gets mad, and there's little glass windows on these doors. He punches his hole through the glass, starts crying. They stole my locker. Went down there, told the cop, they stole my locker. They stole my fan. I got nothing. And I'm like, wow, this kid's acting like an 11-year-old kid that's out of control, this dude. But this is what they do to you in federal prison, man. They will victimize you. You will be in prison without a radio. If you don't have a radio, you can't watch TV. Everything comes through your radio. You'll never have a radio. If they don't want you to have a radio, you're not going to have it. Dudes are going to take your shit every chance they get. They will take your locker with a dolly every chance they get. And what these dudes started doing was they started they had to get smart, right? So they started wrapping their cords around, tying everything to their bed where you couldn't just go in there and grab it and take off. You had to work to get it off. And then they put padlocks on stuff. They'd actually take cords and hook things up and actually padlock their stuff to their bed. Where you were you had to yank it, and by the time you yanked it, you probably broke it, and things didn't work out. But this is what they do to you in federal prison, man. They will victimize your ass. They will victimize you. We have another incident where in Raybrook, we get this white dude that comes in. Remember, I told you about the tough guys. In Raybrook, they're not letting you go up top. You can't just be like, hey, you did bad things, and we're sending your ass up top. They're like, no, you did bad things, and we're about to beat the shit out of you. And that's what ends up happening. We get this white dude in there. In the morning, I got some things going on. I don't want to end up in the hole. Some of the homies come to me like, hey, Chad, look, man, this is the deal. The cop just told us this. This dude's got to go. I'm like, well, look, I'm going to go out and work out. When I go work out, man, make sure you handle that. So we got this kid named Vinny. Maybe I'm going to bring Vinny on, right? Vinny was my little dude, man. Vinny goes in there with a couple of the homies. You guys heard from Mike Centeni, the kid that checked in also. They go in there and they tell the dude, hey, man, you got to go. And the dude gets like, I'm a Marine. I'm an ex-Marine. I ain't going nowhere. And I think these dudes got a little bit shaken up, right? They're like, oh, shit, because Vinny's like a little skinny kid. And they're like, dude, you're going. And then they just start wailing on the dude. So all the Marine Corps shit that he was talking, that shit all went out the window. Then it beat the shit out of him. And that's what you do. You end up, you just pound people out until the cops come. The cops hear it eventually, hit the deuces, and they take you. You're gone. Boom. You get to go to the hole for maybe 3 months, 6 months, a year, and then they transfer you to another prison. You might end up in Englewood. You might end up in Milan. They might say, you know what, we're writing you up for fighting. Because no matter what people think, the cops don't like these people either. Majority of cops, they're doing their job, whatever, but a lot of them don't like you either. And they'll definitely put you in the cooker. They might move you up to a USP. And then you go out there on that compound, they're not just beating you up. They're destroying you, man. Now, I talked a little bit about Gino. I really want to do a video on Gino, Philip Jared Donald. He was a mob guy. Well, kind of a mob guy. He was the mayor, and he was doing contracts up there in Waterbury, Connecticut, looking out for the mob. The police do a wiretap, and they find out that the mayor is doing some of the most vicious things you could ever imagine. But we'll talk about Phil, a.k.a. Gino, on another video. If you guys want to hear it, let me know. But that's my take, man. That's what happens in federal prison to people that victimize the innocent. So think about it, man. If you're doing the wrong thing, this ain't it, bro. They got something special for you. Let this be a teachable moment for you. Let this be the moment where you say, no, man, what I'm doing is wrong. I'm about to get out of my mom's basement. I'm not going to be sitting in here in tighty-whitey Superman drawers. I'm not going to be at my job doing this type of stuff. Let today be the day that you change your life, because I don't want no one else victimized, man, by you. And for real, if you victimize them, I promise you that there will be someone there to victimize you once you get sentenced. Once the judge hands down that gavel and slaps that thing to that wood, they're going to put that wood on you. Blood on the Razor Wire TV. Until tomorrow, we're out.